So you're thinking about moving to Redmond, Oregon, but you'd like to know some of the downsides of living in Redmond, Oregon? In today's episode, we're going to talk about the 7 downsides, the 7 cons to living in Redmond, Oregon. And if you stick around to the end, we're going to share with you a couple of the amazing upsides to living in Redmond. So with that being said, let's get into it right now. If this is your first time on the channel and you'd like to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, playing, living in Redmond, Oregon, subscribe below, tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about everything here in Redmond, Oregon. My name is Zach Nutter, the Z-Man, licensed broker with eXp Realty. My business partner and I, Ryan, get calls and texts every day from people just like you looking to make the move to Redmond, Oregon, and we absolutely love it. So if you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or schedule a Zoom call. We'd be happy to meet with you and just share with you everything we know about Central Oregon. All our contact information is below, and we look forward to helping you make the smooth move here to Redmond, Oregon. With that being said, let's get into some of the cons of living here in Redmond. Now, let's be honest, every place has some downsides, but overall, Redmond is a fantastic place to live. But whenever you're thinking about moving to a new place, it's nice to know some of the downsides. So we're going to discuss the 7 cons for myself in Redmond. So let's get into it. So number 1 is it's expensive to live in Redmond. The median home price is $542,000 as of this recording. And the Census Bureau had the average income for Redmond at $33,315. That was in 2020. So that's the most current data I could find through the Census Bureau. So that's a pretty big discrepancy. Obviously, we know housing pricing went way up over the last couple of years. But so it is really expensive to live in Redmond. And as you go south to Bend, it gets even more expensive. So Central Oregon can be fairly expensive to live. Number 2, we have a very dry climate. This is the high desert. So lots of juniper trees. We don't really get much humidity at all or rain. So it's a dry climate. If you're coming from somewhere like Texas that has a lot of humidity, be prepared to kind of shrink up when you get here and feel really dry and feel the need for a lot of lotion and to just your body's going to take some time to acclimate to the dryness here. We are at a pretty high elevation, around 3,000 feet. So yeah, Redmond is a pretty dry climate. Number 3, the smoke. Okay, so in the summers, we get windows of time where we get quite a bit of smoke. We are surrounded by forests, and unfortunately, we do get some forest fires. And when we have those forest fires, a couple things that are really important is to make sure you're changing your filters in your home, that you're staying inside when you can, because the air does get fairly hazardous. I know that sounds terrifying. It's a pretty small window typically that happens towards the end of our summers. We're hoping that Oregon makes some changes and some things that can really help mitigate the fire risk and make some changes. So with that being said, fire and smoke here in Central Oregon is a concern. That leads me to our 4th topic, which is the plane noise. So Central Oregon's major commercial airport, only commercial airport, is in Redmond. Bend has a private airport where there's a lot of training and stuff, but the commercial airport is actually here in Redmond. And it's a great airport, lots of direct flights where we didn't used to have a lot of those. You can go to Seattle, Salt Lake City, Denver, Phoenix, LA, Chicago. So we're starting to get more and more direct flights. They've expanded the airport, but they also use that airport for a lot of these planes that dump water, have the flame retardant for the fires. So you get a lot of these really heavy, big airplanes coming and going during fire season, which provides a lot of additional noise coming out of the airport. So if that's something you're sensitive to, there's certain areas of Redmond that obviously have a little bit more noise, but overall, you are going to hear the airplanes here and there in Redmond. So number 5, we want to talk about, there is not much nightlife in Redmond. So if you are somebody that likes to go out dancing, go out to clubs, different things like that, you're probably going to have to make the 20-25 minute trek down to Bend. There's just not a lot of nightlife. There are some great restaurants that have been brought into Redmond. It's really been, there's been a lot of, there's Carnival, there's Oshi Sushi, there's Diego's. There's a lot of great restaurants that have been brought into Redmond over the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of great food carts, food truck areas. So there is a lot of great places to eat in Redmond, but not really much nightlife. So if that's something that you're into, I just want you to know that going in, that you're probably not going to be out at a club or something like that in Redmond. So number 6, isolation. So your closest major city is Portland, which is going to be about 2.5 hours away from Redmond. You have Eugene, that's about 2.5 hours somewhere away, and then you obviously have Bend. So Redmond is quite a bit smaller. Then you have Bend down to the south. Bend's got about 100,000 people. It's still a pretty small town, but it has a lot more amenities and different things that Redmond doesn't quite necessarily have. So if being somewhere where you have quick access to the big city is important to you, Redmond's probably going to be a little hard on you because it is pretty isolated. And number 7, highway traffic. So most of Redmond's traffic is not bad, but when you get on the highway and you're heading south to Bend, or if you're going the opposite way, if you're coming from Bend into Redmond during rush hour traffic earlier in the morning, or kind of when work gets out, typically that 4 to 5 hour, expect some delays. There's quite a bit of traffic. Redmond did bring in an intersection, or excuse me, a bypass, but it only bypasses about half of the town. So you used to have to drive up 97 through downtown, which really slowed things down. So they bypassed downtown, which is fantastic, but you still have to go through about half of Redmond, and there's 3 or 4 traffic lights, and they can get really backed up. So just know that if you're driving through Redmond, give yourself a little bit extra time. So those are the 7 cons of Redmond. They're not really that bad. Redmond is an amazing place to live. Some of the things I love about Redmond are the food that they're bringing in. I mentioned the food cart areas. General Duffy's, they have concerts at this food truck venue. It's got a little bar in the middle, and then they've got like 6 food trucks. They've got a concert venue. Wild Ride Brewery has a similar setup without the concert venue. You've got a lot of good restaurants that have come in recently. Redmond has just done a great job with expanding, growing. It's got the airport there, so if you're traveling a lot for work, it's a fantastic place for traveling. You can get most places really quickly. It's not far from Bend. You've got, it's a little closer to Portland than Bend is. It's about 20-30 minutes closer to Portland than Bend. Quick access to Sisters and Prineville. So Redmond is a great hub of Bend. It's a great place to live. It's absolutely beautiful. There are gorgeous mountain views. So it's not all bad in Redmond, but I did want to point out some of the small things that you should know when you're considering moving to another town. So I hope that is helpful today, guys. Again, Zach Nutter with eXp Realty. Shoot me a call, send me a text. Schedule a Zoom meeting. I'd love to meet with you. All my contact information is below. And if you're new to the channel, again, subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications. I look forward to seeing you on future videos, and hopefully I get to meet you in person. Have a wonderful day.